Hello, this is Heather from PH Soul Suds. Thought you might like to join me as I unmold and cut up the next 3 bars, which I still have yet to name. But these are the ones that will be ready in May. So thought I'd just kind of show you a little bit of the unmolding process and a little bit of how we cut and prepare our molds, or our bars. Now, sometimes it takes a little bit to get the airlock out of these. These were made yesterday, and they are still quite soft. These silicone liners are terrific, but they do make it just slightly tricky to be able to get them out. So, I want to show you my ugly boxes that they go in. They definitely help keep the shape of the soap, but the silicone is perfect for being able to not have to line my molds. I used to have wooden molds that I would line with paper, and I always seemed to manage to, for some reason or another, get the paper wrinkly, and then I would have to trim off some sides. So this has been awesome because it takes a little bit to get it unmolded, but once it's unmolded, I can really feel like I get some nice crisp edges. Okay, this one, as you can see, just kind of bubbled here a little bit. It's very soft at this stage, and this is my cutter that I use. It's actually a cheese slicer, and I use a little bit of washi tape at the top to be able to show me about where I want to make my bars. I try to make all of my bars about 5 ounces, between 5 and 6 ounces. It really depends on the embeds, how tall I go. This bar particularly, it has on the top of it, well, let me show it to you a little bit better here. So there's the sides. I always like the look of them when they're done. And then there's the top. It's got on it poppy seeds and sea salt and a little bit of glitter. So this one's pretty simple. And this was done. We'll see what the inside design looks like. What I end up doing is lining it up along the bar that my husband made just to give me a guideline. And the sea salt and the poppy seeds will leave a trail through the soap. So I try to turn it on its side to minimize the dragging that's going to happen. It will happen. Okay, so there you go. There's bar number 1 on this one. I get about between 8 to 10 bars out of each loaf, and they will all be within 5 to 6 ounces. The ones that don't hit that mark, if I were to happen to make them so they don't match that, then I use those as my personal gifts, and that makes it nice. So there's bar 2. So I'll keep going here. Maybe fast forward you through this part because once you've seen them, they're pretty much the same. This bar was a in the pot swirl, and I realized it after I had made it, it was to be a bright green, a bright purple, and a gray. But I realized after I'd already mixed the green and the gray together, I'd forgotten to add my fragrances. So this one is fragranced with a pretty common fragrance that I have. I've called it Manly Man in the past, but so many of my ladies like its fresh, clean scent. So I'm coming up with a new name for this bar, and if you have any suggestions, let me know because I would love to get some help naming these soaps, and we can send you off a little gift for helping us. There's the next bar. Now, when we come to the end of the bar, gets a little trickier because this is where I get my soap samples from when it's a bar that doesn't cut straight, or when I have just a little bit left at the end. So let me show you that last full cut. That's that one. And let's see how many we've got this time. Looks like I only got 9 out of that bar. Sometimes I do find that between 9 and 10, just depends on how tall they are. But there's 2 of my soap samples that will get sent out as thank yous for those who contributed. So let me clean up this soap residue and we'll take on with the next one. This one I'm looking to only get 9 since I only have 9 embeds. Let's see what we can get out of this one. On the top are some blue fish embeds. I'll hold it up to you so you can see it. There's some sea salt and some glitter on this one. When I make my soaps, I use the same recipe every time. With the exception of these 3 batches, I ran out of shea butter, but I had quite a bit of cocoa butter, and cocoa butter makes wonderful soap. I have done it in the past, and so the same recipe, but with the exception of cocoa butter instead of shea butter. And I have found that cocoa butter does produce a much harder bar. It's a little bit longer lasting, but I personally like the feel of the shea butter. So as soon as I get my next delivery in, I'll be going back to my regular recipe. So this is my bar. This was a just a drop swirl to this one. So we'll see what it came out with. It just takes me a minute to find, get that out of the way. Those out of the way too. Okay, so this is what the drop swirl looks like. And again, the end of the bar has a little bit of softness to it, so I'll be cleaning that up. And then the top has a little fish. So this is another one. This one is again in the same fragrance, that Manly Man fragrance. And we so like that one because it's very clean and fresh. Kind of has a little bit of an undertone of like fresh air, sea kind of smell to it. So again, each bar has a little fish on the top. These bars are going to be pretty big because of how wide the embeds were. Now I will take, at the end of the cure time, which takes 6 weeks for it to finish curing, I will go ahead and take a peeler and bevel off the edges. There's nothing worse than holding a piece of soap in your hand and have it rub on your skin harshly. So that just kind of takes the edge off of it. And then we'll package it and prep it up. Get it ready to send out to you if you place an order. This one you can actually see some of the oil swirl that I did in between the layers. I hand piped on the tops. This one was just kind of wavy, and then a little fish on the top. But there is a swirl of purple oil. All right, so 2 of the Manly Man fragrance that I'll get to come up with names. So if you have a name for them, let me know, because I'd be really happy to send you a little thank you for helping me name my soaps. Okay, and for our last bar, this is our same fragrance as we had our green succulents, or the succulent one, and we also had Desert Beauty out of the same fragrance. I put poppy seeds in the base of gray, and then swirls of blue and green, and I'm so excited at how that turned out. I think that's just gorgeous. I almost hate to cut it because it looks kind of like clouds and sky and land and ground, you know, just real pretty. But that's a whole bar. It's not going to do anybody any good like this. As it cures, it will continue to get harder. So now is the time to cut it. But I just thought that that was just beautiful. So that's one of my first landscape design of soaps. And let's put these in here. I'll be carrying these downstairs to my studio, and let me show you the end result. So this are the bars from the 3 batches that I did this week. There are 3 batches of 9 soaps plus 4 samples. So these should be ready coming up here in about 6 weeks. And I'll have them ready and list them as soon as they're done. Hope you had fun hanging out with me.